Hello again. Welcome back to our walkthrough of the College Board question bank. We are going through nonlinear equations in two variables right now, all difficulties, so we'll see some easy, medium, and hard ones. I'm going to be doing about 5 to 10 questions in each video to keep them fairly short. I'll put the last 3 digits of the test code in my whiteboard here so you guys can keep track of which one I'm doing. Um, and just try them along with me. Pause the video before I go through the steps of it and try them on your own, especially since this is video 3 now in this sequence. As always, we want to survey through our definitions before we begin. So since we're doing linear equations, we've got the slope-intercept form, which everybody should hopefully be familiar with. Y equals mx plus b. M, of course, is our slope, the rate of change, change in y over change of x. B, of course, is our y-intercept, where x equals 0. So 0 comma b should be a standard point that we can expect to see. We've also got um, standard form, ax plus by equals c, where we learned last video, or we discussed last video, that negative a over b is our slope. Negative a over b. And we did some perpendicular things with that. Then we've also got our y-intercept at c over b, and we have our slope point form, or point slope, where m is still our slope, and then we have change in y and change in x. That is just the standard definition slope in play there. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. Brief review today. So this is question 11 in our sequence today. Question 11, code A4C. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, make that so. You know what? I was drawing and here with my son who wanted the big, bold numbers and thickness to the pen. All right, so we've got a standard form of an equation here in our PDF. We've got 3a plus 4b equals 25. That's standard form. Usually on a question like this, it's not going to be math. It's just going to be purely interpretive. So knowing the style and nature of the SAT, we should try to interpret what each of these coefficients and constant numbers mean. What is the 3? What is the 4? What is the 25 in terms of our context? So $25 is the total cost. So small boxes and large boxes. I assume A is going to be small and 4 is large because small number, big number. Represents the relationship between A, small, B, large. Yep. The customer had chipped. Fine. So customer had shipped 3 small boxes. How many large boxes were shipped? So don't get confused here. Even though the 3 is also the coefficient on A, 3 must be the cost of the boxes because the total result was a cost. So it must be the cost of the small times the number of small plus the cost of the large times the number of large equals the cost of the total. That's how a system of equations is going to work with its units, because we have cost per number times cost per number equals the total cost for everything. I'm kind of being a little loose with my units there, so forgive me if it's not quite as precise as a mathematician would want it to be, but I'm just trying to be natural language here. So if $3 per box for per small box times the number of small boxes, 3 of them, plus $4 for each large box times the number of large boxes equals 25, we can very easily solve for the number of large boxes. Stripping out the units of measurement here, we get 12 plus 4n equals 25. Subtract the 12, divide by 4. We get 4n equals 13. And then, did I mess something up in my math? Oh, 3 times 3 is not 12. 3 times 3 is indeed 9. If you caught me at that, go ahead and have a good laugh at my expense. 25 minus 9 is what? Blinking. Da, 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 16. And then, of course, n equals 4, dividing that over. So our answer there must be B. Very good. Moving on to the next. Question 12, code 644. All of our answer choices, one of the things we want to do before we begin a question is survey what we've been given. Before even reading the context of the question here, I see we've been given a y-intercept, a slope-intercept form of an expression, and then another, in our answer choices, they're all linear functions in slope-intercept form. They want it to be parallel to this function. Parallel, remember, means same slope. So the slope here is 7. And the y-intercept is given at 5. So very easily then, the answer must be B, because it has the same slope at 7 and the y-intercept at 5. Remember that the y-intercept is always when x equals 0. So that being 0, 5 tells us that it's the slope, or that it's the y-intercept. Question 13, code 577. Again, easy difficulty. It's in standard form this time. And notice that the answer choices are all words. Whenever your answer choices are all phrases or words like this, there's no math to be done. It's, again, just interpretive. Let's see what we got going on. It's the number of minutes x that she spent running, minutes y that she spent biking. So this is running minutes, biking minutes. What does 75 represent? Well, if I'm adding the number of minutes for running plus the number of minutes for biking, that it must be the total number of minutes that this person spent exercising. So not spent running, that's x, not biking, that's y. Total number of spent running and biking, so that is C. Number of minutes spent biking for each minute spent running, that would be like a slope kind of thing. That's not quite what we have there. That's setting up a ratio. 14, code 472. Again, surveying our question, we have answer choices in slope-intercept form. And then I see in the text they do give us a slope of negative 1/3, so I think it might be C or D, unless they change something. I'm going to scan the text to see if they gave me anything that's like parallel or perpendicular to make sure that I don't have anything funny going on. They don't tell us that it's parallel or perpendicular, so it is just negative 1/3. And it goes through negative or 9, 10. If it goes through 9, 10, the y-intercept has no chance of being 10 because it would need to be 0, 10. So even without doing the math, I know that the answer here must be D. We can plug it in to make sure. Let's go ahead and do that. So if I plug in 9 for x, we get negative 9/3 plus 13, and we need that to equal 10. So 9 divided by 3 is, of course, 3. Negative 3 plus 13 indeed does equal 10. So plugging in the point verifies it. It is indeed D. But we knew that. We already knew that because the slope was negative 1/3 and the y-intercept couldn't possibly be 0, 10, as C is suggesting. It must be something else because 9, 10 is a point on the line. Think about that. 15 is our potentially our last question of the day. Code 2B7. Again, our answer choices are all given for us. These things are in standard form for A and B. And then there's this weird, almost like factored form for C and D, but they're not quite factored form because they're not quadratics. There's no, there wouldn't be like an x squared or a y squared if you distributed this through. So this is again going to be kind of interpretive. Let's see what they give us. Large boxes and small boxes again, one at a time. Total of 700 minutes a day. So these 700s on the right-hand side here, these are the total number of minutes. So I know that this addition here needs to be minutes for the small plus minutes for the large. I'm anticipating my answer before I interpret them, right? 10 minutes for a large box, so I need to have maybe 10y. Or wait, no. Large boxes is x, so 10x. Never assume. Never assume. So it's going to be 10x plus 5y equals 700 if these are the number of minutes. Yeah, yeah. All right, 10x plus 5y. So that's going to be B. So total, again, one more time, total number of minutes is 700. So I know that the sum here needs to be minutes plus minutes, minutes for small plus minutes for large. It's 10 minutes for large, so I just need to make sure that either X or Y was the large. They say large boxes is X, so 10X must be our large boxes minutes, and 5Y must be our small boxes for minutes. And that's it. Let's go ahead and do, nah, we'll finish there for the day. So we didn't end up doing too much math on this set. This was largely an interpretive set. Knowing the definitions of things and starting from those definitions is step one. Gather up your givens and let the answer choices in the text tell you what is going on, but lean heavily on those definitions as you go through. I guess we should be thorough and go ahead and check our answers. A4C was answer B. 644 was answer B. 577 is C. 472 was D. And 2B7 is B. Very good. If you learned anything or you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. I'll be making my way through the rest of the question bank, hopefully over the next several weeks. And hopefully you guys can stick with me through this journey. Thank you.